You're listening to The Supreme Show with who? Me, Supreme, aka Big G, the brother with the platinum voice that'll put you to sleep. So listen, like, and subscribe. And oh, don't forget to drop a comment. Peace. What up, what up, what up, what up? This your boy Kareem Supreme. Here to talk about the 30th anniversary of Tell the World My Name by K Solo. I-S-P-E-L-L, very W-E-L-L. I only spell so I can T-E-L-L. K Solo, y'all, 30 years. Y'all may think I'm crazy, but for some strange reason, this album reminds me of Super Mario Brothers 3. Why? Because I was a fifth grader at the time playing this album while listening to K Solo. I would be playing Super Mario 3. Super Mario 3 came out around the same time. And for some reason, every time I hear any track off of this album, it just makes me think of Super Mario Brothers 3, because Super Mario Brothers 3 is one of the greatest games of all time. Believe it or not. Well, at least it was the greatest game for the NES. But anyway, when I first heard of K Solo, it was on my stepfather had a maxi single of EPMD, You Gots to Chill, and one of the songs on there was called Knick Knack Paddywhack. Knick Knack Paddywhack, give the dog a bone, don't give him nothing but a microphone. Well, they had a song called Knick Knack Paddywhack, and it featured K Solo on it. Now, I had never heard of K Solo. EPMD was hot at the time. This was like the early part of 89, maybe late 88. And he was spelling on that song. But then DMX went on to say K Solo bit his style or whatever. You know, I didn't hear DMX until 97, 98. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, that's a whole nother ball game. But this album, personally, is one of my favorites. Top 3, easy. This album made me want to be a rapper. Because not only was he spelling, a lot of his songs were based on a true story, like "Tell Your Mom's Mind Her Business," "Renee," "Tales from the Crack Side," "Fugitive," "The Real Solo, Please Stand Up," "Allah Bless the Messenger." This album is a straight classic. I wish K Solo could have went further in hip hop, but he kept getting into a lot of trouble with the law. Now that's another story too. But this album got to be my favorite because, like I said, it changed my life. And as I got older, some of these songs I went through myself, like on Your Mom's in My Business. I had a girl that had a nosy mom. Her father was cool, but her mom, I don't think her mom liked me. Personally, I think she would have rather seen her daughter dating a white dude. You know, because these were uppity Negroes and they lived way out in the suburbs, and, you know, that's just what I thought. But anyway, her mom was nosy as hell. And it caused us to go our own separate ways. You know, and, I related to this album. As I got older, you know, I realized what he was going through. I started going through similar things. And some of my friends as well. I had a homeboy who was on the run. He was basically a fugitive, running from the law, just like that song. And every time I would see him, I was saying that fugitive chorus to him. I was a fugitive, you know, just playing around with him. You know what I mean? And it would always piss him off. Now, K Solo was from Long Island. When he first came out, I thought he was from Brooklyn or somewhere. But he was from Long Island. Suffolk County, and he got down with EPMD. Parrish Smith, PMD, was his homeboy. They was in this group called the Rock Squad. You had Jerry J and PMD, and the guy from House Party. His name was Groove in House Party, the big dude, the one that said, "I am getting those digits." They was all in this group called the Rock Squad, and they kicked K Solo out the group because he was the youngest and he was a little bit too bold. He talked about it on Everybody Knows Me, and the Rock Squad had one minor hit, and Tommy Boy ended up cutting him off, and K Solo knew he would blow up sooner or later. And then him and PMD crossed paths, and PMD put him down. Eric Sermon produced Spellbound. Now when Spellbound hit, everybody's jaw dropped, because we had never heard a rapper spell the way K Solo was spelling. He would spell the words and it would rhyme as he was spelling it. But then if you write them down and say them, as you was writing them down, they rhyme. ISPELL, very WELL. I spell very well. It was crazy. It was crazy. He took it to the next level. And then the other songs was just relatable. They hit home. I was a fugitive. Everybody knows me. My money's all tied up. Everybody knows me. Renee, Drums of Death, AX plus the BX plus Y is 0. This dude was off the chain, man. This dude was fire. He was dope. He sent a lot of people back to the lab, man. Just by just his flow alone, and then his voice. He had like a mellow, deep voice, and he was able to rap fast. You know what I mean? I remember when I first heard Your Mom's in My Business. It came on MTV or whatever. And I was like, yo, who is this dude? This dude is solo. He by himself. He don't need no group. And I'm like, yo, this shit is banging. I immediately asked my stepfather for $10 so I can go run out and buy this tape. I used to collect tapes. Most kids used to collect baseball cards. Well, I collected them too, but I mainly collected cassette tapes, hip hop. And this probably had to be like the third or fourth album I ever bought with my own money. I think it was like the third. And I just played it nonstop while playing Super Mario Brothers. I remember we used to have school dances, and we didn't have a DJ. Everybody would bring their own cassette tapes, and they had like a big stereo there that only played tapes, and people would tell me to bring that K Solo because I was the only one that had it, and we used to dance to Your Mom's in My Business. Plus, it didn't have no cussing on it, so we was able to play that and rock to it. Those were the good old days, Listening to K Solo's songs, it seemed like each track on this album was like watching a movie or listening to a movie, because it was so real. This was one of the first realistic rap albums. I mean, the stories he was telling was just real. Like, you know what I mean? This should be a movie. That should be a movie. This song should be a miniseries, or that song should be a documentary. That's how real this album was. Years later, K Solo will go on to sign with Death Row. But when Dre left, things wasn't the same, and Suge Knight just messed everything up. Suge Knight wanted K Solo to diss Redman. A lot of people thought that Redman and K Solo were real brothers. They do look alike, but their birthdays are on the same date, April 17th. And they both are aggressive rappers. They're both light skinned. You know what I mean? So they were like brothers. Tight. like you and your best friend. One thing I respected about K Solo is he never backed down from nobody. You know, anybody had a problem with him, he would always step to him. Like he stepped to DMX, and DMX backed down, and you know, him and Keith Murray, you know, they were beefing. Keith Murray tried to jump him, he didn't back down. He didn't back down from none of them dudes at death row, and he was at death row at the worst times. Well, I wouldn't say good times. The worst times, in the mid '90s, when people was getting beat up in the studio and forced to drink piss, he was right there, and nobody wouldn't fuck with him because he was a thorough dude. He held his ground. Plus, he was an amateur boxer. Him and Mike Tyson, they trained in the same gym. If I'm not mistaken, they had the same trainer. This dude was like a pit bull. My style's aggressive like a pit bull terrier. Hotter it sounds or wax, the more the merrier. That was his rhyme in Knick Knack Paddywhack on the EPMD's second album. And it was true. You gotta respect the cat like that, man. Rappers today, they take real gangsters' names and write all these fantasy tales, all these fantasy songs, and they'll write about some shit that they ain't never been through. They'll write about how much dope they sold and how much money they made and all that shit, knowing damn well they ain't do all that. Because if they did, they'll be snitching on themselves. And you know what I mean? You got a lot of fairy tale rappers nowadays. K Solo, he's one of them dudes. Whatever he went through, whatever he's rapping about, he actually went through. You got some rappers that'll rap about some fairy tale shit and then go out and do it. But K Solo was one of the rappers. He was one of the first rappers to write about some real shit that he'd been through. Some criminal shit, whether it was some heartfelt shit, whether he got his heart broke or somebody did him wrong. He'll rap about that shit, man, and you can relate to it because we all been, hurt, suffer from heartaches and heartbreaks or whatever the case may be. A lot of rappers don't write about shit like that. They want to sound hard. They want to sound like they Jimmy Conway or Nicky Barnes and shit. They want to live that life. They want to paint this picture. That's how they came up in the streets. Now some of them, they really did live that life, but you could just tell they ain't do all that. When they put it in perspective, when they record the song, you be like, damn man, they ain't do all that shit. If they did, what the hell they doing rapping? You know what I mean? But whatever. K Solo was one of them dudes that rapped about shit that everybody go through. He went through it. He write about it because people can relate. Like the song "Everybody Knows Me." He raps about he was in love with this girl and her parents said that he couldn't take her to the prom. He couldn't take her to the prom because she wasn't his type. You know what I mean? He wasn't her type. Shit like that. Y'all get the picture. There's so many gems on this track, so many jewels. It's hard to say which one is my actual favorite, but it has to be Your Mom's in My Business. Because a lot of older people liked this song back in 1990. I'm talking about older people, people in their 50s and 60s. And this song got massive radio play. I remember it was on season 2 of In Living Color. It's on YouTube. The Fly Girls was dancing to K Solo. That blew my mind because they would usually dance to popular rappers, and K Solo had just came out. PMD produced most of these tracks on this album, except for Spellbound. That was produced by Eric Sermon. A couple years later, the bass line, the drum beat to Spellbound was later on sampled by Brownstone. You know that song, If You Love Me, Say It. If you love me, do it. I forgot the name of the song. If you want me, show it. If you need me. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That was that drum beat, that was the beat to Spellbound. Gladys Knight, she also sampled it too on Meet Me in the Middle, the original version. And yeah, that song was sampled heavily. People used to rap over the drum beat too, because Eric Sermon let it flow at the end of the song. Check it out. If y'all got any favorite joints or, you know, favorite lyrics on this album, just drop a comment. Let me know. It's your boy Kareem Supreme. Peace.